When I was working for a radio network, I reached the point on my 7th year when I was so stressed and burned out. So I asked for some form of sabbatical from my role as operations director and took the role of executive assistant to the president for a year. It was a career change that I so needed at that time. A sabbatical leave is a period of time in which a person does not report to his regular job but remains employed with that company. The idea is that he can do something totally different from his job, like go on an extended travel or even take on a part-time job in a different industry. Some take that time to do something creative, like write a book or conduct some important research. Others take the time to spend with their family. The leave may be from 2 months up to 1 year, and they're usually granted after an employee has worked for 6 straight years. On the 7th year, he or she qualifies for the sabbatical leave. While most companies would treat this time as unpaid leave, there are some companies in the US that actually provide paid sabbaticals. Now, after the sabbatical leave, he or she can go back to resume work without losing tenure. The idea behind this is that a person who goes on sabbatical is refreshed and inspired anew as he or she goes back to work. The experiences and insights he or she gained from the sabbatical become valuable contribution to the company. Here in the Philippines, the practice is common in the academe and also among religious workers. It is very unfortunate that this kind of leave is not made available to more employees in the private sector. The sabbatical is a heritage from the Jewish people. The word comes from the Jewish practice of the Sabbath. Its principle is that every 7 years, there is a need for rest for the people's means of livelihood. I believe it is a principle that should apply to us as well. It is something worth considering in thinking of your long-term well-being with regards to life and career. You see, it is a principle that came from God Himself. In the collection of laws that God gave the people of Israel under the leadership of Moses, this is what God said. For 6 years you shall sow your field, and for 6 years you shall prune your vineyards and gather its fruits. But in the 7th year there shall be a Sabbath of solemn rest for the land, a Sabbath to the Lord. You shall not sow your field or prune your vineyard. You shall not reap what grows of itself in your harvest, or gather the grapes of your undressed vine. It shall be a year of solemn rest for the land. The means of production during ancient times was agriculture and shepherding. In the 21st century, most people are paid for labor, for information work, or for entrepreneurial activity. Anyone who has ever worked in a modern corporation will agree that at a certain point in your career, more or less after working 6 or 7 years, you become tired and unmotivated to work. We really need to take a break. In the absence of sabbatical leave, it may be worth considering to get a reassignment to a less stressful role at work. Or perhaps ask for work-at-home arrangements, if that is available. Or maybe apply for a company-sponsored MBA. Worst case, if you really feel you need that break, and if you feel you can pull it off, consider pursuing a different career altogether, at least for a season. At the end of that period, I am sure you will come out of it re-energized, much more creative, and inspired to get back to work. Because in the matter of career breaks and sabbaticals, faith matters too.